Responding to comments here, Paul Bragg says, I'd love a video about your views on the place of the royals in our society. My apologies if you've already done one, but I only discovered your channel recently. I enjoy your content. Well, thank you very much. And I think the role of the royals is deeply misunderstood because it's this confusion over the role of royalty and the role of celebrity, and I think that confusion is exacerbated and perpetuated by the media, but also by the royals themselves. So there are challenges and divisions that have impacted the uh, image of the royal family. But the monarchy itself is a complex concept encompassing political, social, religious dimensions and tracing its evolution, uh, maybe all the way back to the Anglo-Saxon monarchy, but certainly the modern incarnation to the reign of George III and Queen Victoria. And since his ascension to the throne, Charles III has continued this long-standing tradition of the British monarchy and serving as an icon of unification, a unifying figure in the nation that has been deeply divided along political and social lines, partly because of our confrontational political um, uh, format, as evidenced in Parliament. Um, Charles's commitment to public service is evident through his long history of charitable work, particularly through the Prince's Trust, which he founded in 1976 to help vulnerable young people in the UK. And the Trust has supported over 1 million young people, providing them with skills and opportunities to succeed in life, which is testament to Charles's deep concern for the welfare of British society. Moreover, he's been an ardent advocate for environmental issues long before it became mainstream, and his efforts in promoting sustainability and conservation have positioned the UK as a leader in global environmental movements. His influence has contributed to a growing awareness of climate change and the need for a more sustainable way of living, which aligns with broader shifts in society towards environmental and scientific responsibility. The wider royal family also plays a vital role in public life, representing the UK at home and abroad, and their participation in various charitable activities, public engagements, state functions helps maintain the sense of continuity, theatre, stability, which is particularly important in times of political or economic uncertainty. But because it has a sort of amorphous, slightly undefined role, it's very easy for it to be sidetracked into the tittle tattle of a sort of elevated EastEnders sitcom by characters like Andrew, who drag the reputation of the monarchy into the gutter. Now, Andrew may be perfectly, we don't know the details behind the allegations against Andrew, and that may just be tittle tattle and gossip. It may have grounding in the bedrock of unfortunate reality, but the impact on the crown is significant, as also, frankly, is the impact of the dispute between William and Harry, and that should be sorted out. The monarchy is a sanctified institution, linked also to its role in the church and the idea of a God-given coronation, which confers grace, and grace is something which seems to be missing in the relationship between Harry and William, Harry and his father, and it needs to be sorted out. And the monarch can take the lead. The monarch serves as a symbol of not only national identity and pride, but of also optimism and grace. There is no better word than grace, actually. Grace is about charisma. Grace is about the free demonstration of godliness within the world. Whether you believe in God or not, it doesn't make any difference. It's a demonstration of goodness. It's a demonstration of rising above the immediate political fray, the immediate concerns that divide us, to look to the greater concerns that unite us. And the royal family should embody a concept of union and continuity that links the past, present, and the future of our nation. The royal family is what symbolises Britain rather than the flag. And the image of the monarchy has been tarnished by the Andrews association with Epstein and the resulting legal issues that heavily damaged his reputation, and by extension the reputation of the royal family, and it's a job of the king to rise above that. Andrew's perceived failure to fully cooperate with investigations, his subsequent withdrawal from public life, have created a public relations crisis for the monarchy, but the monarchy is not about popularity. The monarchy is about symbolising our stability. And we don't have stability in the monarchy. If the monarch cannot rise above the tittle-tattle, then the monarch is failing. Similarly, Prince Harry's departure from royal duties. There is no such thing as a non-working royal. This is an invention by Simon Case and the Twits, who are trying to run the PR of the royal family. This should stop. This should stop. And the king should rise above this. There is no such thing as a non-working royal. The royals are born to duty. A prince of the blood royal. And it doesn't matter about Harry's relationship with anybody else, or what Harry does, what Harry publishes. He is a prince of the blood royal. And his criticism of the royal family, exposing rifts within the institution, well, it's the king's job to repair those, and it's the future king's job to repair those, not to perpetuate some sort of exile, particularly of two of the most charismatic members of the royal family. The couple's, Harry and Meghan's interviews and statements, and the constraints on their business, on the developments of their own business, because of Harry's royal links. In both cases, the constraints are there because of the royal links, and the interest is there because of the royal links. And Netflix, of course, realizes it can't fully exploit these opportunities because this exposes the problem. This is not a celebrity couple. This is a royal couple. And there's a difference. And the couple's interviews and statements have painted a picture of a royal family that is out of touch with modern values, particularly on issues of race and mental health. I don't believe it, actually. These are issues which are in discussion. And simply to talk about these things is to highlight and expose the issues. The newspapers would like to create a perception of a monarchy as an institution divided between tradition and a younger generation that's seeking change. That will always be the case. There's nothing new here. The confusion between royalty and celebrity is the bigger problem, and it's played a significant role in emphasizing the divisions and the complexity of the monarchy. The modern media environment, with its relentless focus on personal lives and scandals and identifying crises in every sentence, has blurred the lines between the royal family as an institution and the individuals within it. In fact, there is only one individual, and everything else spins like planets around that sun. There is just the crown. And it's led to a situation, the current problems have led to a situation where the royals are often judged by the standards of celebrity culture. What utter rubbish, rather than their constitution, their constitutional role and their role in British society. And despite these challenges, the monarchy remains a powerful national icon. The coronation of the British monarch is not merely a state ceremony, but a consecration with deep religious and historical significance. And the ritual, steeped in centuries of tradition, which should not have been changed by Charles, underscores the monarch's role as a servant of the people under the sovereignty of God, symbolizing a continuity that transcends political whim. And the religious dimension of the monarchy is particularly important. It doesn't matter if you are a subscriber to the Anglican Church or not. As Supreme Governor of the Church of England, the monarch embodies the union of church and state, but as somebody who is part of that resonant history, that unchanging history from the Saxon monarchs to the present day in Westminster Abbey, the relationship between the British sovereign and the church, which is ongoing for centuries, encapsulated in the idea of the monarch as the head of the Church of England. But this role goes beyond religious symbolism. It reflects the monarch's moral authority and his responsibility to uphold the values that define our society. And the foundations of the modern monarchy, with its focus on public service and moral leadership, with its focus on family, were laid during the reigns not just of Queen Victoria, but of George III. Despite the personal challenges and the efforts to stabilise the monarchy in periods of tumultuous change, ours is not the only period of change. Now, George III went mad. Queen Victoria retired from public life to the point where the abolition of the monarchy was seriously in question. George was seen as a symbol of British resilience during the American War of Independence. You only have to go and see Hamilton and the Napoleonic Wars, reinforcing the idea not only of the monarch as a central pillar of national identity, but as the monarch as the figure that you take aim against if you don't like Britain. The monarch is a unifying icon of Britishness. And in the modern age, the monarch should be presenting as a positive image, an image that commands respect, as Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II did. Pretty well universal respect. One of the first people to write to Charles III after his mother's death was President Putin. You can't get a clearer definition of the respect that Queen Elizabeth commanded than that, can you? A man who is at war with everything we believe in still writes to comment on Her late Majesty's death and to send his condolences. And to expect to be invited to the funeral, which he should have been. But instead we played party politics and lost the opportunity of diplomatic advantages provided by funeral diplomacy. I remember this conversation about funeral diplomacy when John Paul the First died and John Paul II died. This funeral diplomacy, when these huge figures, Paul VI died, when these huge figures in the Catholic Church died, and the funerals brought together the figureheads of so many nations, often competing or at war with one another, in the same place, within arm's reach of each other. The opportunity that a funeral presents for bridging gaps, and the opportunities, therefore, that monarchy and heads of state can command at these times, and we miss that opportunity stupidly. Queen Victoria shaped the monarchy into a symbol and moral of moral responsibility and respectability and domestic virtue, and her emphasis on family values, her role as mother of the British Empire, helped to re-establish the monarch's relevance in an age of increased democratic change. And the Victorian idea of monarchy as both family and symbol of national unity continues to influence how the royal family is perceived today. That may need to change, but the first principle of monarch is that the monarch is the icon of the state, of this state, of Britain. And the British monarchy, under the leadership of Charles III, plays a crucial role in British society. And through their public service, through their charitable work, through their symbolic presence, the royal family continues to contribute to national unity and national identity. And internal divisions and the modern confusion between royalty and celebrity, and we don't like this person, we don't like that person, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The challenges that threaten to undermine the image are invented challenges to sell newspapers. The monarchy's deep historical roots, the monarchy's religious significance, the monarchy's moral leadership, evolving role as a national icon, they ensure that it remains a central and enduring institution in British life. And there isn't a viable alternative. It offers a pageantry, a theatrical definition of who we are. And it's also funny. It's entertaining because it is human. And that human frailty and that human weakness and those human foibles give it a resonance that a flag or a changing president never can. And sometimes those foibles are overemphasized. But they are the stuff that spice up the humanity of the monarchy. I think that the monarchy in many ways gives us, as British subjects, it gives us, or British citizens, it gives us our interest in humanity, our interest in failure, our interest in success, our interest in that, the ups and downs of life, because they are reflected in the palace. It is aspirational in a way that I can't think of anything more middle class than the modern British royalty, the royal family. It is aspirational. You too could be like that. It goes beyond education. Education is one route to aspiration, but another route is simply shaking hands with the king, touching that ultimate figure. You can never really be that figure. You can aspire to be near the figure, and to be influenced, to be inspired by a person who embodies the traditional inheritance of who we are. The coronation and the associated rituals that pinpoint the royal year remind us of the monarch's continued relevance to, and particularly the monarch's role in remembering the sacrifices that have been made by earlier generations. This is why I think the statues around London are so important. Why we shouldn't be pulling them down. We should contextualize them. We should put up more. The statues are an opportunity to walk through history and see, as in, do you remember that wonderful film, The Slipper and the Rose? A retelling of Cinderella, good kings, bad kings. And and mad kings, with Richard Chamberlain dancing around in the funeral parlour or the mortuary or wherever it was, the ossuary or something, the cemetery, the royal mausoleum, the mausoleum. There we are. We got the word eventually, um, and it was a great scene. It doesn't matter whether the kings are good, whether the queens are good or bad. They're part of that chain of history that binds us to a concept of national state, even before nationalism was fully understood. National state, with all its imperfections, with its language, with its aspirations, and with its ceremonies, a living symbol of the values and the traditions that bind the United Kingdom together.